Damn it. Our above-ground lure testing facility was destroyed in the storm again. Now we're never going to be able to test Dr. Bass's theories. We're going to have to rebuild. With all kinds of crazy weather moving across the country this week, a lot of other anglers would stay in the house. But as watchers of this channel, you guys know that means opportunity. So get out there this week and catch your new personal best. Welcome back to Bass Prediction Center, where we're tracking weather, seasonal patterns, and tournament trends to help you catch more and bigger bass. Let's go. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're looking right away at our map like usual. As you can see here, starting in central Nebraska in a line that's all the way through Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all the way to the northern coast or northern border of California. We have post-spawn conditions all the way to the Canadian border. Now there are some spawning fish in pockets in here, especially in these big lakes, the Great Lakes, some lakes at higher elevation, things like that. So depending on which lake you are to look at, you might have some spawning fish, but mostly post-spawn in these areas. And then you could even find some summer patterns starting in the southern portions of this. From that area down to the south, all the way through Texas, you have early summer patterns setting up. Lots of grass fishing, fish getting offshore. We have an NPFL event taking place on Eufaula in Oklahoma. Been a lot of tournaments on this lake recently in the last few years, so it should be a good one. Lots of rain. Should be some good flipping bites. And you know they don't use forward-facing sonar over there, so it's going to be a classic old school flipping beatdown probably. So midsummer areas, summer's really starting to set in from Florida, southern Texas, all the way to southern California. Fish are definitely offshore or deep in the grass. So if you're in those areas, stay tuned, and we will show you exactly what to do to catch some fish in those areas.
The St. Croix Bassmaster.
All right, for the tournament spotlight, I want to start off by jumping over to Bassmaster here, because there was an absolute heartbreaker over there on Lake Tenkiller in Oklahoma. This was another event where they were flipping and pitching all week long. Pretty awesome event if you love that kind of old school fishing. But Andrew Loberg had the lead for the first 3 days, and then on the final day, Wes Logan snuck in and won by a single ounce. One of the tightest finishes in history you'll ever see. So, guys, if you're not watching these tournaments, you're really missing out. This is the time of the year where you kind of forget about them, but get on there and watch them. There's 3 more left, I believe, so really fun time to be watching some awesome bass fishing. All right, the NPFL is having their next event over there on Lake Eufaula. I don't know if you guys follow this tour, but there's a bunch of elite guys in this. There's a bunch of other guys fishing this. It's a really good tour. No forward-facing sonar, so Lake Eufaula is going to be one of the perfect places to fish. Classic Oklahoma fishery, colored waters. You have everything from rocks near the dam to flooded stuff up on the north end. So, guys, check out this tournament this weekend. Go to npfl.com. There's no other big tournaments going on, so it's a great time to spend your weekend and see who wins this thing. Watch out for Kyle Welcher. Guy's a hammer.
Have this 8X, but waterproof tackle boxes.
As you guys know, we're shooting for 1,000 subscribers here on the channel. We've had a little lull in the action with only one video coming out last week with my truck issues and tournament and everything, but we're back on schedule. It's Tuesday. We got the forecast out here, so make sure you click subscribe if you want to enter the giveaway, or if you just love what you're seeing. Make sure you like a video and comment on a video, and you will get entered for that 1,000 sub giveaway. We're giving up some great stuff away from Beyond Braid, Skip's Boat Cleaner. I'm going to throw a bunch of other stuff in there. It's going to be a nice little package. I'll share the video from Wade on the lure, the guy that won the 500 subscriber giveaway. He does a really good job with photos and things like that. So I'll link it right after this, but guys, make sure you follow. It's going to be growing and growing, and we're going to have some of the best content on YouTube right now for fishermen. So check it out. Thanks for watching. Tight Lines. All right, jumping into the weather, and we'll look at our severe weather possibilities for the next few days. First of all, we have today on Tuesday, and we have a huge red spot here right on the Kansas and Oklahoma border. If you're in this area, watch out, because there is going to be some tornadoes, winds, and hail in these areas for sure. So southern Kansas, northern Oklahoma, watch out. And then even if you're north of there, you're going to see some severe weather up in the northern parts of Kansas, parts of Nebraska and Iowa, possibly. Also, we have a dark green marginal patch over here, southern Pennsylvania down through Mississippi and Georgia, or Mississippi and Alabama, all the way Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia. You guys are all in this. So if you're out there today, be careful. Definitely want to keep your kill switches engaged and your life jackets on if you're fishing, and watch out for lightning out there. You don't want to get struck by lightning. Let's check out the next day here. For Wednesday, we're looking at a stretch of storms from eastern Michigan all the way to the Red River here. So especially in these areas here in Indiana and Illinois and Missouri, definitely a strong risk of severe weather on Wednesday night. So if you're out there, just watch out. Also, 5% chance of tornadoes right now, which they may increase as we get closer to this. And then Thursday's looking like everything's going to kind of push to the east. Going to have a slight risk. Right now, this could change again. We have a couple days for this. New Hampshire, Vermont, eastern New York, eastern Pennsylvania, eastern Virginia here. So also North Carolina. So if you're in these areas, again, if you're planning on fishing on Thursday, just be careful out there. Watch the weather. All right, looking at our forecast map for the week. As you can see, storms through Nebraska, Kansas right now today, bringing that severe weather. Had storms last night. As you can see, my pool got absolutely wrecked. Had to order some parts for that. But the storm system's just going to continue to move to the east, continue to bring severe weather in those areas that we talked about in the SPC. Also, some storms up here along the Canadian border. If you're planning on doing a fishing trip up there, be careful. Going to be some storms. And this whole system's just going to continue to move east through the week, through Thursday and Friday. And then we have another little system kick up here in Wisconsin and Michigan. That's going to bring some severe weather up there later in the week, probably. We'll keep an eye on it, especially on our weekend update. So stay tuned on Friday for that. But it looks like everything's kind of staying around the Canadian border through the weekend. So the rest of the country should be pretty dry if you're planning on fishing at all Saturday or Sunday. As far as winds go, it's kind of the same story as we always see. Around these low pressure systems during the summertime, that's where you're going to see some winds. Otherwise, it's really not too bad out there. Most of the country should be pretty good for fishing. You're going to see little pockets of winds pop up. Just keep tuned to your local forecast to be sure of how strong these winds might get. As you can see on Saturday, there's a good chance of some strong winds here in the southwest and in the Rocky Mountain regions all the way into Nebraska. So that's Friday evening. And then off the coast of California, it's very windy. It's just this time of the year. A lot of those Pacific winds. Maybe get out there and do some surfing right now. But as you can see, the Great Plains should be kind of windy this weekend. That's the only thing that might ruin your fishing plans. But yeah, 10 to 20 mile an hour, not terrible. You can definitely fish. Just plan on bringing some Dramamine so you don't get seasick out there. All right, high temperatures for the week. Tuesday, very warm all the way to the Canadian border, pretty much everywhere. A little pocket of cold air here in Pennsylvania. But you're looking at upper 80s to 90 degrees all the way throughout the whole country, down to close to 100 along the Mexican border. Over 110 degrees in the desert over here. So pretty warm day on Tuesday for the country. Wednesday, kind of some cool air moves down, but this is still really nice, 75 to 85 degrees in these areas. Just pushes that really warm air to the south, but other than that, looks really nice on Wednesday. This is kind of going to be the story for the summer, kind of going to be the same thing every week. That's okay, we'll still talk about it. 80 degrees on very warm day on Thursday all the way to the Canadian border. You're looking at 80 degrees almost everywhere. Some upper 70s here in the Midwest. But it looks really warm on Thursday. Friday, more of the same. A little bit of cooler air pushing down here into the Ohio Valley. Other than that, very warm. 100 degrees here in South Dakota. Going to be a hot day on Friday. Saturday, more of the same. 105 degrees up here in western Nebraska, South Dakota. Very warm. Watch out. Bring your sunscreen if you're planning on fishing on Saturday. Hot and windy. Might not be the best day to fish. And then on Sunday, more of the same, guys. Finally, some cool air moving into the northwest here. A little bit more comfortable day to fish up here. You might need to bring a rain jacket, though. Probably some spotty showers up here, but a lot better than 108 degrees. If this is true, going to be crazy. But watch out for our weekend forecast here, and we will update you as we get close to the weekend. Fish absolutely love that.
Oh my gosh!
On this week's forecast of fish, we're talking flooded conditions, especially flooded bushes. Guys, there's been a ton of rain in a lot of areas right now, and there's water up in these willows and in these bushes. One of the best things you can tie on this time of the year is a jig. And I know a lot of guys aren't used to fishing jigs, but now's the time to try it because the jig is absolutely weedless. You can get it in and out of all those bush areas, get it in and out of the grass. You can fish it anywhere. It's like the 4x4 for fishing, guys. A jig is one of my favorite lures. You need to tie one on, get your favorite trailer on there. If the water's a little bit muddy, use a dark colored jig. If it's more natural, use a, like a green pumpkin or something like that, guys. This is the time of the year to fish a jig. Get out there and try it. You might catch your new personal best. That's been Forecast to Fish. Thanks for watching. All right, guys, Lake of the Week this week was sent in by a user. It's Lake Geneva here in Wisconsin, and it was sent in by Zoppy Toppy. I believe that's how you say it. It starts with an X. So this is a lake here in Wisconsin I have never seen before, but my God, this thing is absolutely covered in boats. This must be a boater's paradise. I bet these are a lot of ski boats. My God, there's a lot of boats on this thing, but let's see where it is here. So, yeah, not far from the cities over here, Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha. So definitely sees a lot of boating pressure. I don't know about fishing. Let's see if we can see a good map on this thing. Looks like probably has some pretty clear water. Probably some grass in this thing. A lot of docks here. I bet they've taken most of the trees out of this thing, knowing how, yeah, there's just a ton of people. People probably have cabins on this thing. Oh, yeah, this is crazy. This would probably be pretty tough to fish for bass, to be honest. I bet the water doesn't drop down much. Yeah. Honestly, if I'm fishing this lake, you're going dock fishing, probably. Now, if you could find some isolated docks on this thing is absolutely surrounded with docks. That's what there is. So you got to find what's different on this thing. There's docks everywhere. So find the docks that are different, the ones that stick out farther, the ones that are closer to shore, things like that. Maybe there's some brush piles under some of these docks. Just graph the whole thing one day. This isn't a huge lake. Spend some hours graphing out here. See which docks have brush piles on them. See which ones, like this one sticks out a long ways, but there's also lots of boats around it. So watch out for all that boat traffic. Be safe out there. But find you some docks that are different. This marina dock could hold a lot of fish. Find some that have a little bit different contours underneath. And you could probably catch some fish on here. I'm sure there's lots of bass, lots of bluegill and crappie, things like that. Probably some smallmouth even. But go out there, fish you some docks, learn how to skip if you don't know how. Nico rig is a great way to learn to skip. A Nico rig on a spinning rod. Skip that thing a mile. Great way to learn how to skip some baits. Throw a Nico rig on every one of these docks. Find the ones that are different. Work yourself into a pattern, and you're going to catch some bass on this thing. But, again, watch out for these pleasure boaters. These guys have been drinking beer all day long. So be safe out there while you're doing it. But go out there and catch some fish. Find anything different on this lake, and you'll catch a ton of bass. Well, finally got me a new truck. Window still won't roll down. Anyway, went over by the river. There's an old farm pond. Went clear back in the woods, fish it. Throwing me a topwater mouse. You remember those old topwater mouse? My God, I heard something behind me. I run so hard. I swear to God it was a Yeti. Anyway, went back to the grocery store, picked me up some chicken gizzards, caught me a 12-pound blue and a 9-pound flathead. Goddamn, we ate good last Thursday. Anyway, that's been Gooner, signing out. Alright guys, that Gooner is a nut. He is obviously scared of everything out in the woods, and if you need a catfishing report, he's your guy. So, these are the baits of the week for bass fishing. They're brought to you by Beyond Braid. As you know, use code BBC10 at checkout over at beyondbraid.com, and you can get 10% off some of the best braided line on the market. I use it on all my spinning gear and all my bait casters that I use braid on, guys. It really is the best. It's so smooth. It casts a mile. It doesn't tangle. It's really, really great stuff. And they have awesome colors. So check them out at beyondbraid.com. This week for our spawn / post-spawn, mostly post-spawn areas, this is a great worm to throw around. This is the Xcite Baits Slim Jim worm. Throw this thing either on a shaky head or a light Texas rig. You can actually even Nico rig this thing. There's a lot of guys throwing these thin worms right now, and they're just killing them on it. Real long thin worms. get you around some cover, where some fry garters are, and you're gonna catch a ton of fish on this thing. Absolutely slaughter them, to be honest. So this is gonna be numbers. You're gonna catch big ones and small ones. Tie this thing on. Check it out from Xcite Baits. A cool new worm. Your early summer areas. One of my favorite times of the year to throw the KGB Shad. You can chop it like crazy right now around some of those cover areas, those big patches of grass that those bass are just starting to relate to. And then some of the offshore areas that maybe aren't so deep, some of those shell beds in like 6 to 8 foot of water, work this Shad right through the middle of them. You're going to catch some absolute monsters. If you have a shad spawn going on in your area, you can't beat it, especially gizzard shad. You're going to catch your personal best for sure on this thing. It's one of the best glide baits out there, and they make it from Spro right now, so it's only like $50 instead of 300. So get one now. Midsummer areas. One of my favorite things to do is find a hard area, whether it's in 5 foot of water or 25 foot of water, and get you a structure head from Strike King. Drag this thing along the bottom. You just reel it really slow. It's basically like a 4-wheel drive crankbait underwater because it's completely weedless. You put a rage craw on the back of here, drag it around the bottom. You're going to catch largemouth bass. You're going to catch walleye on this thing too. I've done it. But any hard area this thing does not snag up. Get it in the rocks. Get it around stumps. Drag it around. You can stop and go, but I like to just reel a constant reel and let it bounce across the rocks, and it triggers some awesome reaction strikes. If you guys haven't thrown a hard head, get out there and do it now. Those are the baits of the week, guys. They're brought to you by Beyond Braid. Use code BPC10 at checkout at beyondbraid.com and get you some great products over there. And that's been the baits of the week. That's been your weekly forecast. Make sure you get out there this week and grab the bull by the horns, guys. Go out there and catch the biggest sack of your life. Make sure you comment on the video, like, and subscribe so you can get entered to win that 1,000 subscriber giveaway, guys. Tight lines, and we'll see you on the weekend update.